Oh my god. I cannot say this right now. Okay, I'm saying it out loud.
Say it.
Everyone at American Tornado is f***ed. That's all I can say. Oh my god. Boom. Oh my god.
So this video was supposed to come out 3 weeks ago, but I decided to wait in case there was a fallout, but there wasn't. Still, I think this video is important to go over, in case you don't know the full story, as well as to go over the larger issues that plague the Overwatch community. For those who don't know, former Overwatch League pro players, Sam or S9mm, OG, and Mikey got exposed for saying racist slurs in Discord DMs and in group chats, specifically the hard R, but I'll have to blur it in the edit for obvious reasons. If you want the original source, just check the description of this video. In order to verify the legitimacy of these screenshots that you're seeing on screen, viewer OW, the account that leaked these screenshots, DM'd Sam on Discord asking to verify whether the accusations were true or not. They ended up hopping in a call that lasted almost half an hour, with viewers saying that Sam was 100% truthful, honest, and regretful about what he had done. According to the account, as for OG and Mikey, viewer wasn't able to get a hold of them to question them further about the situation, but he was given screenshots of Mikey showing that he was pretty concerned and worried about these racist screenshots being leaked. Also, OG has deactivated or deleted his Twitter account as a result of these screenshots leaking. Now I'll get onto the knock-on effects that this had on the rest of the NA Overwatch scene and the roster mania this had caused, but before that, the real controversy this sparked was the way these screenshots got leaked. Basically, a French player from the Overwatch World Cup LAN, which people assumed to be Nico GDH, supposedly looked through one of Team America's PCs at LAN to find these messages. Moneyfolder, a black man I ought to clarify, said that, in retrospect, this entire situation is really fucking funny because the only party that won here was the French players who used this dude as a blackmail mule, and he was too blinded by clout to realize he was a pawn in a pro player proxy war. People entirely unrelated to the incident have lost opportunities all due to the wrath of Nico GDH. This is like the plot of a movie, insanely funny set of circumstances. Just to clarify, this would all be avoided if they never slurred, that is true, but it's also undeniable that significantly less innocent people would have suffered if the French dudes didn't treat slurred screenshots as blackmail. Before I continue, I thought it was worth mentioning that Nico himself claims that he didn't take the screenshots, or no French player he knows took it themselves. I took the screenshot from Luca, an Overwatch Twitch streamer, who was streaming to almost 2,000 people about the situation. Luca also claimed that the rest of the former American Tornado players were gonna get cooked, and for those who don't know, most of them were former Toronto players last year, but at least as of the release of this video, this information hasn't ended up coming out yet. While there's no evidence to back this up, the rest of the American Tornado crew are heavily implicated in engaging in this kind of behavior, because Sam and OG were on the American Tornado roster. Anyways, going back to the Twitter takes, a popular one was from Boga, who just simply tweeted that racism is bad and that dumpster diving in Discord to cancel someone is cringe. In essence, the point of his tweet is that two things can be true at once. There was still controversy under Boga's tweet, with people misinterpreting that exposing racism is bad. People argued back because whatever French player had these screenshots kept onto them for months, and only exposed them an hour before NA roster lock, which leads me on to the next part. The knock-on dominoes effect that this event had on the rest of NA. As a result of these screenshots being released, Winthrop Esports had placed Sam on indefinite suspension. And for those who don't know, Winthrop is a public university in the US who partake in the collegiate scene. And that wasn't all Sam had in stock. He also got dropped from his Overwatch CS roster, M80. Now a lot happens here, so I'm going to credit Phone in this tweet who made this quick but clear graphic of the chain of events. We've been through step 1, so now we go to step 2. M80 yoinks 3 players from an organisation called YFP. As a result, YFP disbands. Ultraviolets, former flex support for Toronto Defiance, and the flex support for M80 leaves to join Run It Down mids. M80 then drops the entire remaining roster, including the last minute pickups from YFP, and then M80 sign Run It Down mids. However, they then announce, along with YFP, that they won't be fielding rosters for the stage. But there's actually a 6th step to this, which is that the roster lock in the deadline is extended, and M80 does actually manage to fill the roster last minute, deciding to keep Hawk's team Run It Down mids. You can actually check the Liquipedia page for M80, the timeline is a fucking mess. The important things to note is that most of the old M80 roster are teamless. The people that got fucked over were Seeker, Liar, and the coaching staff McGravy and Wheats. Thankfully, Seeker, Liar and McGravy got signed to WD-40, also known as LFO. McGravy ends up tweeting a picture of him and Gumba by a whiteboard, which I thought was quite funny considering Gravy tried poaching players from Gumba's team, only to end up reuniting, so to say. As for Wheats, he's still the coach for Winthrop, but he missed out on finding a team for Overwatch CS, as far as I know. To add even more slop to this mess, Kaluj decides to retire amidst all of the drama. Of course, any outsider would assume this racist drama is related to Kaluj's retirement, but according to Kaluj, they're not tied together at all. Albert, former manager for the Mayhem, tries to make a link between Kaluj retiring and the leaked screenshots, with Kaluj replying that he talked to Hawk about his replacements. Albert replies underneath saying his tweet wasn't serious. Of course, because this entire drama was happening when EU were asleep, EU teams were making fun of the NA scene, and obviously there were many memes poking fun at the entire situation. Fast forward to March 7th, roughly a week after the whole situation went down, and Sam posted an apology. People were split to say the least. Sam caught flack, especially for hiding the replies to his apology tweets, which were making fun of Sam. Generally though, people weren't too harsh on him, and clarified that Sam shouldn't stop saying slurs in fear that he'd get caught, but he should stop saying them for just basic human decency reasons. Two threads especially caught my eye in response to Sam's apology. One was from SVB, who had a detailed thread about it that I'll leave below. His last two tweets on the situation were pretty potent and for good reason, pointing out that when we're quick to forgive people who say these slurs in private, we're normalizing its initial usage in the first place. Shiam also had a thread describing the situation, taking the stance that he doesn't care about reforming this behaviour because in this situation, Sam was a grown adult. Conversely, there was a TikTok by Coach Coffee, which took a significantly more affirmative standpoint, while still holding Sam, or anyone who uses slurs, accountable.
I think if you're racist or if you say racist things or have been caught saying racist things, then of course you have to suffer the consequences. But the biggest thing that I have an issue with is everyone speaking about this seems very, very reactionary. For those of you that don't know me or haven't seen me speak about situations outside of the Overwatch community, I am also super big on rehabilitation and stopping something before it happens. Right now, Overwatch players' biggest fears are getting caught saying racist things when really they should feel some sort of type of way about saying racist things as a whole. And I think that a lot of these situations revolving around racism can actually just get fixed if managers in tier 3 did their job, to be completely honest with you.
I thought it's also worth mentioning that there's been debates by very popular streamers on the usage of slurs in privates. There's been people of colour, like Irrelevance, who argue that private usage of slurs is fine because it's a different domain to the public sphere. Conversely, Shiam did say in his thread that racism is still racism, regardless of whether it's privates. Personally, I don't think you can ever fully separate public and private spheres. It's kinda like that whole recent Kanye debate about separating the art from the artist. How do you do that if the artist is in the art and you can't separate them at all? Anyways, that's it for the video. This is probably gonna get 2k views because I scripted it 5 years ago and I'm late, but hopefully that's a good holistic rundown of the entire situation. Until next time.